Hello, welcome back to today's episode of Let's Play Jane's Fighters Anthology as we continue on with the general aircraft showcases. So today we're finally moving away from the big jets, at least for a little while. It's got to find a suitable feeder for our next jet here. Let's see. Let me check the other operators real quick. I was hoping for a German theater, but they don't really have that short of the French, which... Is that even an option for quick missions? Baltics, Cuba, Egypt... It is an option, okay. In any case, Egypt. Okay, that's a fair one. I think we can go for that. Once I find it again. There we go. So today we will be doing the Alpha Jet, which is a light attack slash trainer, you know, one of those types of aircraft. So we will be, we'll say, Arab Egyptian. Enemy forces are Islamic Egyptian. Let's see, 10,000 feet, custom weapons load, and no hostiles. This will just be like a terrorist hunt. Let's see if they've got... I think the armored column is the closest they have. Which, in that case, I'm going to take 4, just in case. Because it doesn't exactly have a huge payload. Do we want to put weather down? Let's put some clouds, why not? Alright, so we got... we're going short range, so we shouldn't need the fuel. Cluster bombs would probably be nice. Can we fit those? We can fit those. Instead of the rocket launchers, I will take literally anything else. Okay, so we can fit those on the outboard ones, and then... Oh, we have a very... Oh, we can't even fit the, Oh, we can fit a 3-pack. Okay. Can't do that, unfortunately. Oh, we can't... Can we fit anything on the center line that isn't... Like, literally, rockets are just... I really wish they weren't as ineffective as they are in this game. Like, a frickin' cannon is more effective. Really, I can't fit... What about a... Oh, we could fit a jammer pod. That might have to do. Could also use chaff flare, which is probably perhaps a little more realistic. Yeah, we can't. I don't think we can fit anything. Yeah, even rockets are not being fitted in there. So I guess that's gonna be our loadout. So 2 cluster bombs, 2 snake eyes, and then our cannon. And then we have extra chaff and flare to deal with enemy air defenses, which... yeah, that's probably the best option, so let's begin. Alright, let's try this again. I started this mission, but something went wrong and the game crashed right away. I did change the loadout. We do have, I did end up taking the jammer pod instead of the chaff and flares, and I replaced the Snake Eye Mark 82s with the standard low drag Mark 82s, so that will hopefully be... Who has missiles? Oh, they do. That makes sense. I'm like, I did not outfit any of my team with missiles here, so... And that is why I took the low drag ones. And now let's hope the winds aren't too bad. There we go. And it looks like our wingmen are tearing up that tank convoy. I really wish they had used the Russian tanks instead of the American tanks. That would have made this raid against insurgents a little more believable, I think. But, oh well, you work with what you got, right? So, as I was saying earlier, the Alpha Jet is basically kind of the same line of light attack and trainer that you see in a lot of less well-funded militaries. Similar to what's the one I'm thinking of? There's like a Czechoslovakian one. Ow, it tickles. Anyways, we can just strafe this guy. Alright. Who dared tickle me? I guess there's that crow to left. And then I guess they have a gun emplacement that we can take care of. So this guy's not armored, really. I mean, at best, it's like an armored car. So, again, we'll go in for a cannon kill, I think, on this guy, and then we'll gain some altitude and drop the rest. Ooh, they have 2 Krobels. Here's just hoping the tanks don't shoot me out of the sky like this is Battlefield or something. Whee, pull up, pull up. Uh-oh. There we go. We recovered. I don't know what it is with this game and not liking not liking the camera fly through explosions, but, yeah, it's a thing. Alright, we do have one more cluster bomb. Unfortunately, these tanks are pretty far spaced out. So, cluster bombs are not nearly as effective as one would hope. Okay, let's get a little more throttle here. There we go. Try to hopefully take out at least 2 tanks with that. It's a big old cluster bomb. It should be doable, right? Not quite. Apparently, the armor on the M1 is too good for these. And possibly on any tank, but we can at least finish. Whoop. Okay, they got him. Alright, that's the mission. Alright, everyone disengage, form up on me. Nearest air base is a ways away. Holy shit. Sorry. There we go. And apparently that doesn't drop our jammer. Okay. So everyone, we are going... I did not realize the range was so short. I also didn't realize that, Yes, yes, I know. So our wingmen are all probably gonna die. We're gonna climb. Like our life depends on it. And hopefully with our altitude advantage, maybe 30,000 feet. And we're gonna cut down to maybe 60-some% throttle for best fuel consumption, because that is the nearest friendly airfield is a ways away. Unfortunately, I always forget. Excuse me. In these quick mission maps, well, just the default maps in general, I think they're always from like when the theater is at its worst point during a campaign. So, oops, we're vectoring off a little bit here. And we'll continue to maintain a short climb. just to get that little extra bit of altitude. Looks like our rudder's acting a little up a little bit, but not as bad as oh no, that's pretty bad. I don't know what it is, because I did go into the settings and I verified it wasn't my rudder wasn't miscalibrated or anything, at least on like the system side of things, so it must just be something in the game. There we go. That'll fix it for now, although it'll be annoying to deal with, but I don't even know what the rudder keys are. Okay, 1 and 3 on the keypad. Alright, so with that out of the way, and as we slowly coast to our doom here with a mere 1,600 pounds of fuel left, although with subsonic engines we should be pretty fuel efficient. That being said, I don't know if that's gonna be enough. Let's just dump the rest of our cannon rounds here. Every little bit of weight counts, right? I knew the range was gonna be short, but I didn't think it was gonna be this short. And unfortunately, our wingmen are not gonna be as smart as me, and yeah, I can't dump the jammer pod, which I really wish I could do now. I don't think this counts towards your weight, but all right, we'll see if that's enough to do it. So, anyways, the Alpha Jet, which was a collaboration between Dassault and Dornier, is a light attack jet and advanced jet trainer, co-manufactured by Dassault Aviation of France and Dornier Flugzeugwerks of Germany, and was developed specifically to perform trainer and light attack missions, as well as to perform these duties more ideally than the first generation of jet trainers that preceded it. Following a competition was designed, submitted by a team comprising of Breguet Aviation, Dassault Aviation, Dornier Flugzeugwerk, initially designated as a TA-501, was selected and subsequently produced as the Alpha Jet. Both the French Air Force and German Air Force procured the Alpha Jet in large numbers, the former principally as a trainer aircraft and the latter choosing to use it as a light attack platform. As a result of post-Cold War military cutbacks, Germany elected to retire its own fleet of Alpha Jets in the 1990s and has resold many of these aircraft to both military and civilian operators. The Alpha Jet has been adopted by a number of air forces across the world and has also seen active combat use by some of these air forces. Now, the origins of the Alpha Jet lie in the early 1960s when European air forces began to consider the requirement for the coming decades. Why can I not? There we go. I just want to be steady here. Okay, so we're about maybe a third of the way. That's right, no rudder. We're about a third of the way there. So I think we're going to start losing wingmen soon. One such area of consideration was the requirement for a new generation of jet-powered trainer aircraft to replace such aircraft as the US-built Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star and the French-built Fouga Magister. Britain and France established a collaborative program to pursue development of what was initially intended to become a supersonic jet aircraft. This aircraft was to be produced in 2 distinct variants for different roles, trainer and light attack aircraft. The result of this collaboration, the Sepacat Jaguar, proved to be an excellent aircraft, but its definition had changed in the interim, and the type emerged as a full-size, nuclear-capable strike fighter, whose 2-seat variants were used for operational conversion to the type. As such, the Jaguar was not well suited for the general training mission. This left the original requirement unfilled as a result of this outcome, so in 1967, France entered into a series of discussions with West Germany on the topic of a prospective collaboration effort to meet this demand. West Germany was keen to participate in such talks, having long held an interest in conducting joint training operations with France, along with a desire for strengthening positive political relations between the two nations. France also valued military cooperation with West Germany, wanting to break a perceived German ideological preference for American aircraft. In 1968, a joint specification was produced out of these talks. One substantial change to the requirements was that the sought trainer was now specified to be subsonic, supersonic trainer aircraft having proven to be superfluous to practical requirements. In July of 1969, a joint development and production agreement was signed between West Germany and France. Under the terms of this agreement, the two nations committed to purchasing 200 aircraft, these being domestically assembled in each of their own countries. I turned off the rudder and we're still drifting. Wow. Okay. At one point, both the German government and the German Air Force had been keen to relocate pilot training activities from the United States to France as part of the project. In 1971, however, this was abandoned over fears of a hostile U.S. reaction and West Germany's offset obligations, the United States making such a move unpalatable. While the joint Franco-German training proposal was abandoned, the German government felt obligated to proceed with the aircraft program. At the time, Germany did not require a new trainer aircraft, but it did have a need for a replacement for its fleet of Fiat G91 attack aircraft. Accordingly, Germany proposed that the aircraft be built in two distinct versions, as an inexpensive trainer for the French requirement, and as a close air support platform for the German requirement. This position was accepted by France. An initial point of contention, whether... Yes, I know, wingman. You're gonna die. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Okay, so we want to go... If my aircraft would just stay steady... There we go. Just use the freaking autopilot to 060. And it sounds like our aircraft is practically... There we go. Now they can all crash and die. Excuse me. An initial point of contention whether to use a French or American power plant for the aircraft was also settled, with France agreeing to solely finance and develop the development of the French-built Larzac engine, while Germany agreed to adopt the same power plant. A total of 3 groups of manufacturers produced proposals in response to the requirement. These were Dassault, Breguet, and Dornier, which submitted the TA-501, which had been developed through a merger of the Breguet 126 and Dornier P-375 concepts. VFW Fokker submitted their VFT-291 aircraft, while SNIAS/MPB submitted the E-650 Eurotrainer. Each of these proposals were to be powered by twin SNECMA Turbomeca Larzac turbofan engines. The German Air Force had insisted that the trainer have 2 engines after having suffered from severe aircraft attrition rates due to the high accident rate of the single-engine Lockheed F-104 Starfighter. On the 23rd of July 1970, the Breguet Dassault Dornier TA-501 was declared the winner of the competition. In February 1971, the project definition phase was formally completed, and the integrated design team was formally set up at St. Cloud, Paris, France. That same month, a joint Franco-German protocol was signed, launching the construction of 4 prototypes. In February 1972, the approval to proceed with full development was issued. In May of 1972, the first project meeting was held in Bordeaux, at which the order for the 4 prototypes was formally placed. By November 1972, the project had passed its first mock-up review. Dassault was designated as the pilot company for the project and possessed final authority on design and management decisions. This approach to project management had been claimed to have been a mostly efficient manner of running the program. 2 prototypes were to be built by Dassault in France, Dassault having bought out Breguet in the meantime, and a further 2 were to be built by Dornier in Germany. On the 26th of October 1973, the first French prototype performed its first flight at Esteres, Marseille. On 9th of January 1974, the first German prototype conducted its maiden flight from Oberpfaffenhofen, Bavaria. The remaining 2 prototypes were in the air before the end of 1974. First and second prototypes were used to explore the aircraft's flight envelope. The third prototype was fitted with the French trainer equipment fit, and the fourth with the German close air support equipment. Prototypes were equipped with recording and telemetry equipment packages, allowing for instrumentation readings and other useful data to be received on the ground in real time during flight tests. Manufacture of Alpha Jet subassemblies was divided between France, with Dassault doing the work, Germany, with Dornier doing the work, and Belgium, with SABCA, doing their work, each country performing final assembly and checkout of the type in separate facilities. Dassault hosted the largest of these 3 assembly lines, typically producing 13 aircraft per month to meet the needs of French and export customers. was reportedly capable of a maximum of 15 Alpha jets per month. The Dornier final assembly line typically maintained a maximum rate of 6 aircraft per month. In contrast to the final assembly arrangements, none of the three sources duplicated the manufacture of any component. While Breguet produced the front and center fuselage, Dornier constructed the wing, tail, and rear fuselage, while Sapka manufactured the nose and flaps of the aircraft. A total of 4,500 people were employed in the manufacturing of the Alpha jet in Germany. Equal number in France also worked on the program. Both Belgium and Egypt, who were early export customers for the Alpha jet, domestically performed the final assembly of their French configuration Alpha Jet E aircraft. On 17th of September 1978, Dassault and the Arab Organization for Industrialization signed a license manufacturing agreement for the Alpha jet. Egyptian assembly work was carried out in a facility in Helwan, Egypt. In July 1978, Dassault signed an agreement with American aircraft manufacturer Lockheed to market the Alpha jet in the U.S. market. The arrangement included provisions for Lockheed to manufacture the Alpha jet under license. It was considered as a candidate for the U.S. Navy's VTX-TS Advanced Trainer program, which was eventually won by the McDonnell Douglas T-45 Goshawk, which was in turn a modified version of the Hawker Siddeley Hawk. Proposed modifications included undercarriage changes for nose-toe catapults and a stronger arrestor hook, as well as various U.S.-sourced avionics and other equipment. On the 4th of November 1977, the first production aircraft made its first flight. In September of 1978, deliveries of production Alpha jets formally commenced. The 4 prototypes remained in service as flying testbeds, being used for further development of the type, such as to evaluate a composite graphite epoxy wing and improve versions of the Larzac engine. Prototype 01 was specifically used early on to support the development of the Larzac engine. Different avionics fit makes French and German Alpha jets relatively easy to visually distinguish the two, with French planes featuring a rounded off nose and German ones featuring a sharp pointed nose. Ooh, let's see what we got. We got the sharp pointed nose, so we got the German Alpha jet, which technically means we probably shouldn't be able to do these close air support missions. Well, yes, we should with just jet, but not as Egypt, unless they ended up buying some for close air support. Further development. In 1980, work began on an alternate close support version of the Alpha jet, featuring a SIG, SAGEM ULISS 81INS, a Thompson CSF VE-1 TED HUD, a TMV 630 laser rangefinder, a modified nose, and a TRT AHV-9 radio altimeter, with all avionics linked through a digital data bus. Initial flight was on the 9th of April 1982. Cameron obtained 7, with some sources claiming 6, and Egypt obtained 15. As with the original Egyptian order for MS-1 machines, Dassault provided 4 such machines under the designation MS-2, and AOI of Egypt assembled the other 11 from knockdown kits. The Alpha Jet 2, originally the Alpha Jet NGEA, or New Generation Attack Training, was a proposed development of the Alpha Jet, featured the basic avionics of the MS-2, plus compatibility with the advanced French Matra Magic II air-to-air missiles and the more powerful Larzac 04 C-20 turbofans refitted to Luftwaffe Alpha Jet A aircraft. Some of the aircraft's new avionics were derived from the Dassault Mirage 2000 fighter. In 1982, it was claimed that the Alpha Jet NGEA was the only existing aircraft in its category featuring a completely integrated digital navigation and attack system. While no new-build aircraft were produced of this variant, existing Egyptian Alpha jets were reportedly upgraded to a similar standard. A single prototype was flown, presumably a modification of one of the original Alpha jet prototypes. In September of 1982, this aircraft made its first public appearance at the Farnborough Air Show. Another advanced variant was the Alpha Jet 3 Advanced Training System, at one point given the title Lancier. This proposal was intended to perform all-weather ground attack operations as well as to perform anti-shipping and anti-helicopter missions. Featuring many of the same systems as the Alpha Jet 2, it was also to be equipped with twin cockpit multifunction displays and potential carriage of agave or anemone radar. Oh. Even we're out of fuel now. Alright. How close are we? We made it further than our wingmen, who are probably all dying. Let's see how... Oh, we gotta go at a steeper bank than that. I think we're going to land along this highway here. There we go, so we'll just head for that. Anyways, forward-looking infrared imager laser targeting system and modern countermeasure suite. Prototype was also flown, again presumably an upgrade of original Alpha Jet aircraft. In June of 1985, Dornier announced that it was studying its own third-generation Alpha Jet upgrade program independent of Dassault. This proposed upgrade included substantial avionics upgrades and man-machine interface alterations, such as the addition of multiple heads-up displays to allow instructors to view wetsuited surveying, with the aim of being more suited for the sophisticated requirements of modern and impending fighter aircraft. Dornier had judged the Alpha Jet's airframe itself to have been suitable without modification for future market needs. In September 1988, Dassault revealed that it had proposed a navalized version of the Alpha Jet as a carrier-based trainer for French naval aviation, as a replacement for their Fuga CM-175 Zephyr and Dassault tendered 4 fleets. Designated Alpha Jet Maritime 3, it was promoted as having been fully navalized and fitted with the avionics intended for the Alpha Jet 3 advanced training system to give it compatibility with the upcoming next-generation carrier fighter aircraft. Carrier adaptations include the addition of an arrestor hook, as well as strengthened landing gear and undercarriage. And I think, we're at 18,000 feet. I got a little bit of time left. As far as design goes, the Alpha Jet is a light twin-engine aircraft equipped with an intentionally simple airframe despite the performance delivered. Both leading edges and air intakes are fixed, while the aerodynamic shape of the aircraft, which was developed with the aid of computer-aided design, conforms with the area rule. Fully powered controls are used, comprising of dual hydraulic systems and load factor limited dynamic field system arrangement attached to conventional flight control surfaces. Cockpit is pressurized for greater comfort during training. The Alpha Jet is designed to accommodate 10-minute turnaround times with minimal ground equipment, using features such as pressurized single-point refueling, ladderless entering egress of the cockpit, and 10-hour endurance of the liquid oxygen system. Which basically means it's also probably a bit more suited for operations from austere airfields, like, highway strips. The Alpha Jet was designed to perform a diverse range of roles. The principal users of the type, Germany and France, operated their Alpha Jets in different capacities, the former as a ground attack platform and the latter as a trainer aircraft. Alright, let's deploy the flaps now. And I gotta concentrate on actually nailing this highway landing here. Yeah, we're still like 30 miles away from the airbase, so we'll just wave down a a tow truck and get a tow. It's not that big of a deal. They just gotta be heading east like we are. I'm gonna retract the flaps for now. We still got a fair bit of altitude to fair bit of altitude and speed to get rid of here. See what we look like on unpowered approach. And we can see, yep, all our wingmen are dead. Alright, nose down to try to Alright, it's gonna be a rough landing. Oh, the landing gear couldn't take it. I should have kept my dive longer, but we successfully completed the mission, so I'm just gonna read the rest of this here. Oh, there's a fair bit left. Beyond performing different roles, the Alpha Jet fleets of France and Germany noticeably differed in their specification and equipment. German aircraft were fitted with a more extensive weapon aiming system, a different fuel system, a yaw damper, different brakes, nose wheel steering, an arrestor hook, and stencil ejector seats in place of Mark and Baker. According to aerospace publication Flight International, the majority of the specialized equipment used on the ground attack-oriented variant of the Alpha Jet was provided by German firms. In addition to the ground attack role, the Luftwaffe also employed the Alpha Jet in the electronic countermeasures and aerial reconnaissance roles, For the latter purpose, a reconnaissance pod could be fitted upon the port hardpoint. The Alpha Jet is powered by a pair of SN ECMA Turbomeca Larzac turbofan engines, which is a low bypass ratio twin-spool engine that uses modular construction methods. Larzac was a new engine at the time, having only performed its first run a year prior to being selected to power the Alpha Jet. The need for greater thrust to power the aircraft than the original model the engine could generate led to the development and adoption of the 2,970-pound Larzac 4 in February 1972. It was this version of the engine that initially powered the Alpha Jet. Germany was interested in powering the type with the General Electric J85, but France objected to the use of an American engine, which would result in U.S. export restrictions upon the overall aircraft, and agreed to assume the cost of developing the French-built Larzac. During the 1980s, an upgraded model of the Larzac engine, which increased the thrust by 10%, was developed. The avionics of the original version of the Alpha Jet were of an austere nature, partly to make it a simple and easily exportable aircraft. Basic type lacked features such as autopilot, inertial navigation, or radar. Later upgrade programs would typically focus on the addition of a glass cockpit and other avionic systems. The Luftwaffe's Alpha Jets were equipped with additional avionics for the attack role, such as a Doppler radar and additional hardpoints. During the 1970s, Dornier claimed that the Alpha Jet outperformed aircraft used, such as the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II, LTV A-7 Corsair II, and Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II in the close air support role. Firms specifically stated that the Alpha Jet was smaller, faster, less vulnerable, more maneuverable, cheaper, and had higher all-around performance than the A-10. I'm not sure I buy that. Smaller? Sure. Faster? Maybe. Less vulnerable? Not against the A-10's armor. More maneuverable? Maybe. If you're, assuming these are all specific to the A-10. Cheaper? For sure. Higher all-around performance? The F-4 Phantom II is a completely different class of aircraft. And to an extent, so is the A-7 Corsair. That's like a... Compared to this little guy, that thing's a heavy attack aircraft. According to the aerospace publication Flight International, the Alpha Jet was more complex than competing second-generation trainer aircraft, required 7 man-hours of maintenance for every flight hour, and nearly 5,000 pounds of munitions and equipment may be carried upon a total of 5 hardpoints, 4 of these being located upon the wings and a single one at the center line of the lower fuselage. In an arm configuration, a gun pod containing a 30mm Defa cannon, as installed on French aircraft, or 27mm Mauser BK-27 cannon, as installed on German aircraft, would typically be installed upon the centerline hardpoint. The French Air Force decided to use the Alpha Jet primarily as a trainer. On the 4th of November 1977, the first production Alpha Jet intended for French service conducted its first flight. French variant was known as the Alpha Jet E, or Alpha Jet Advanced Trainer Light Attack Aircraft. The initial deliveries to France for service trials took place in 1978, leading to the type being introduced to the line service in May of 1979. The Alpha Jet E quickly replaced the Canadair T-33 and Fuga Magister in the jet trainer role, as well as the Dassault Mystère 4A in its weapons training capacity. The Patrouille de France air demonstration team of the French Air Force fly the Alpha Jet. Total of 176... Uh-oh. I lost my place. Oh, okay, I'm way... There we go. A total of 176 production Alpha Jet E machines were delivered up to 1985, not the 200 aircraft that had been planned. What an excellent aircraft. French Air Force commanders and combat units did have one complaint against the Alpha Jet, in that it was a very forgiving aircraft to fly, resulting in a lengthier and steeper learning curve when assigned to fly combat aircraft, which were not so forgiving. During the early 1990s, the French Air Force investigated the Alpha Jet 3 program, which involved installing a fully digital cockpit, modernized communication suite, and a full navigation attack and sensor training system. It was ultimately abandoned as being too expensive. In 1998, France's Defense Ministry examined prospective upgrades focused on the Alpha Jet's cockpit, such as the installation of a new heads-up display and multifunction displays. In June of 2003, Dassault revealed its plans for an Alpha Jet upgrade to potentially meet the French Air Force's long-term training requirements. This upgrade was similar to that which was performed for the Belgian Air Force's Alpha Jet fleet, involving the installation of a glass cockpit, increasing cockpit compatibility for frontline aircraft such as the Dassault Rafale and the Dassault Mirage 2000, as well as a structural overhaul. In September 2014, Direction Générale de l'Armement, DGA, and French Air Force officials were reportedly investigating the Alina Aermacchi M346 Master as a replacement for the Alpha jet. Alina Aermacchi claimed that France was interested in procuring 35 M346s in this capacity. In April 2015, the DGA issued an initial pre-solicitation request for a replacement trainer aircraft. Likely candidates for this requirement reportedly include the M346 Master, Aero L39 Albatross, Beechcraft T6 Texan II, and Pilatus PC-21. I think the Aero L39 was what I was thinking of earlier. Yeah, it's like a Czech trainer light ground attack aircraft, as is the M346. The PC-21 was introduced in 2018. The Luftwaffe decided to use the Alpha jet mainly in the light strike role, preferring to continue flight training in the southwestern United States on American trainer types instead of performing training in Germany. Though Germany also used Alpha jets based at Bahia, Portugal for weapons training. On 12th of April 1978, the first production German Alpha jet performed its maiden flight, with deliveries commencing in March of 1979. It was designated the Alpha Jet A, or Alpha Jet Close Support variant. The Luftwaffe obtained a total of 175 aircraft up to 1983. The type was used to replace the Fiat G91R3 fleet. So once again, they also did not buy the 200 aircraft they were supposed to. In 1985, Germany began a comprehensive upgrade program known as the Improved Combat Efficiency Program for their Alpha Jet fleet. These upgrades were to involve the installation of Mil-Spec 1553B data bus, new sensors integrated with the navigation attack systems, modernized electronic countermeasures suite, measures to minimize the aircraft's radar and infrared signatures, protection measures around the fuel system, and new armament such as the AGM-65 Maverick. In 1988, it was announced that the ICE program had been canceled. A more austere upgrade program did proceed in its place, which integrated the AIM-9L Sidewinder air-to-air missile and navigation computer upgrades, along with several minor airframe and equipment refinements, such as the addition of a jettisonable gun pod. In 1992, the Luftwaffe began to phase out their Alpha Jet A aircraft, reserving 45 for lead-in fighter training. In 1993, a total of 50 were passed on to Portugal to replace the Northrop T-38 Talon and Fiat G91 fleets, with 5 of these used for spares. The rest of the Luftwaffe's Alpha jets were gradually phased out, the last leaving service in 1998, and customers were sought to buy them. In October 1995, the German military offered 42 Alpha jets to Poland for 143 million PLN. In 1999, 25 Alpha jets were sold to Thailand at 1 million baht each, $27,000. Well, that's kind of a steal, actually, replacing the North American OV-10 Bronco in the Border Patrol role, while the British Defense and Research Agency obtained 12 as chase aircraft and flight test platforms due to a shortage in available BAE Systems Hawk aircraft for the role. Germany was keen to sell the retired Alpha jets quickly, since they were reported as costing around 100,000 Deutsche Marks or $55,000 to keep in storage each month. Fairchild Dornier received a $43 million contract to refurbish a number of the aircraft and provide support to the end users. Apparently 32 more, including 2 spares Hulks, were sold to United Arab Emirates, though details are unclear. Several were also sold to private owners, such as those used by the Austrian-based Flying Bulls flight demonstration team, which flies a range of classic aircraft. Nigeria is another operator of the type. In 1990, 4 Alpha jets of the Nigerian Air Force were deployed in support of Economic Community of West African States Monitoring Group forces stationed in Liberia, which were engaged in combat with the National Patriotic Front of Liberia following an international intervention in the Liberian Civil War. In a series of strikes, these aircraft targeted and launched successful attacks upon Charles Taylor's HQ, rebel convoys and shipping, and gun emplacements at Roberts International Airport. The results of their intervention was judged by the New York Times to have given the ECO-MLG forces a decisive advantage in firepower. In 1992, 6 Nigerian Alpha jets were placed directly under ECO-MLG command and employed against the MPLF in an extensive campaign of airstrikes, road interdictions missions, anti-shipping sorties, and night raids, a task which the Alpha Jet was not normally equipped to perform. They were even employed to deny access to key bridges in order to give ECO-MLG ground forces time to capture them before they were sabotaged. In total, Alpha Jets flew approximately 3,000 combat missions in support of ECO-MLG, sustaining no losses but incurring some damage from anti-aircraft artillery. In 2013, Nigeria began taking steps to bring its Alpha Jet fleet back into service, upgrading 13 of the original 24 into serviceable condition due to an urgent need for strike aircraft to participate in air support missions for counterinsurgency operations against Boko Haram. In March of 2016, Nigerian car manufacturer Inosan Vehicle Manufacturing signed a supply agreement with the Nigerian Air Force to produce components and various spare parts for the Alpha Jet. In 2015, Nigeria ordered 4 additional aircraft from the United States. These aircraft had been demilitarized and prepared for civilian operations. However, Nigeria had reportedly returned 2 of these to an unspecified armed configuration by early 2016. The restored Alpha Jet force has been routinely employed in combat air patrols and has conducted multiple airstrikes against Boko Haram militants over a number of years. In September of 2014, multiple Alpha Jets conducted a large number of aerial bombardment missions over and around the area of Bama, Borno State, during the fight to regain the city following the withdrawal of friendly ground forces. In early October 2014, Boko Haram released a video containing the decapitation of who they claimed was a captured Nigerian Air Force pilot of a downed Alpha Jet. In March 2016, attacks performed by Nigerian Alpha Jets had reportedly dislodged Boko Haram fighters from Sambisa Forest in Borno State. On the 31st of March 2021, a Nigerian Air Force Alpha Jet went missing near Borno State in northeastern Nigeria while carrying out air support for Nigerian troops fighting against Boko Haram, with both pilots missing and presumed dead. Video was released claiming to show the jet being shot down. However, the video was evidently doctored from previous clips from Syria. The Nigerian Air Force attributed the crash to an accident, pending further investigation. However, the video showed Boko Haram fighters at the crash site and the remains of the pilots. On the 18th of July 2021, in a rare occurrence of a military jet downed by a criminal organization, an Alpha Jet was shot down after conducting an interdiction mission on the border of the states of Zamfara and Kaduna against criminal gangs. Military blamed intense fire from armed gangs for the shootdown. Pilot ejected and returned to an army base after evading capture. Belgium. On 13th of September 1973, the Belgian defense minister announced that 33 Alpha Jets had been ordered in 2 batches of 16 and 17 aircraft. These aircraft were given the designation Alpha Jet 1B, the assembly work being performed by Belgian aircraft manufacturer Sabca. Deliveries took place between 1978 and 1980. By April 1981, Belgian Air Force had reportedly accumulated 10,000 flight hours on their 33 Alpha Jets during training operations. The introduction of the Alpha Jet led to the retirement of Belgium's Folga CM-170 Magister fleet. Changes to the training syllabus included the adoption of a new discipline, combined flight, as well as greater use of flight simulators. During the late 1990s and 2000s, Sabca performed a number of upgrades on the Belgian aircraft to the Alpha Jet 1B Plus configuration. Improvements made included the addition of a laser gyro inertial navigation system, a GPS receiver, a HUD in the front cockpit, and a HUD repeater in the rear, a video recorder, and other more minor improvements. In 2000, the initial Alpha Jet 1B Plus was pre-delivered to the Belgian Air Force. The Alpha Jet was phased out in 2019. The next year, 25 airframes and several spare parts were sold to the Canadian company Top Aces, which provides adversary air combat training. Egypt. On 17th of December 1978, the SALT and the Arab Organization for Industrialization signed a licensed manufacturing agreement for the Alpha Jet. At the time, it was projected that up to 160 Alpha Jets would be domestically produced in Helwan, Egypt. Shortly thereafter, Egypt placed an initial order for 30 aircraft designated Alpha Jet MS-1, which were to a standard trainer configuration. 4 complete aircraft were directly supplied from the SALT's facility in France, while the remaining 26 of the order were domestically assembled in Egypt using knockdown kits by AOI. During the 1980s, an additional 15 aircraft designated Alpha Jet MS-2 were ordered. The Alpha Jet MS-2 bore high levels of similarity to Dassault's proposed Alpha Jet NGEA, featuring a Sagam-built ULIS 81 nav attack system, Thompson CSF-built laser rangefinder and HUD, along with a digital multiplex data bus. The Egyptian Air Force used the Alpha Jet MS-1 fleet to replace the Aero L-29 Delphin, and McCoy and Gurevich and MiG-15 in the trainer role, while the later built MS-2 standard aircraft served to replace the McCoy and Gurevich MiG-17 in the ground attack role. Okay, so this was legit. In February 2000, Egypt was reportedly seeking to replace their Alpha Jet fleet and was investigating several options, including the BAE Systems Hawk. There are several civilian operators of the type, which includes Abatir Inc. of Arlington, Washington, which works under the name Alpha Jets USA, Canadian Top Aces, as mentioned before, H211, which manages some planes, which is owned and leased by Google execs Larry Page, Sergey Brin, and Eric Schmidt. And NASA also operates one, or leases one. Air Affairs Australia and Discovery Air will also provide 3 Alpha Jets for the Australian Defence Force for training as well. So these light attack types, because they're so cheap to operate and relatively easy to demilitarize or remilitarize, they're very popular with these private military corporations, because they can quick tack on a few things or tack some things off and put an experienced pilot in there and use them to serve as kind of a adversary force during training. And that's about it. There's a few other countries that use it, but not in any notable measure, just as training aircraft. So, as far as variants go, you have the Alpha Jet A, which is the attack version, Alpha Jet E, the trainer version, Alpha Jet 2, which is the trainer version, but with more optimizations for ground attack. You have the Alpha Jet MS-1, which is basically a close air support capable E variant, the MS-2, which is a further upgraded MS-1 for Egypt once again, and the Alpha Jet Advanced Training System, which was the aforementioned Alpha Jet 3 Air Lancier. The operators include the Cameroon Air Force, which operate. They had 27, currently only 12 of the MS-2 are in service. Top Aces uses 16, as well as Canada's 414 Squadron. Egypt has 14 MS-2 and 40 MS-1, all of which have since been upgraded to the MS-2 variant. France still uses 99 E-jets. Morocco uses 24 of the E-jets. Nigeria, as mentioned, had 24, then kind of let them languish for a while and has been steadily trying to reactivate them. Qatar has 6 of the E-jet. Thailand has 19 of the A-jet. Togo has 5 of the E-jet. And Australia, Air Affairs Top Aces had 3. Belgium had 33 of the E, but those have been phased out. Germany phased out all their Alpha Jet A's. Ivory Coast did have 7 Alpha Jet E's. Portugal had 50 A's, and that they have since retired. And Kennedy Q had 12 former Luftwaffe aircraft that have also since been retired. And that's a private British company. So, specifications. So, had a crew of 2. Max takeoff weight 16,535 pounds, and as we saw in the game, only about 3,351 pounds of internal fuel capacity, powered by 2 of those SNE CMA Turbomeca Larzak 04C5 turbofan engines, producing 13.24 kilonewtons or 2,980 pound-foot thrusts each. Maximum speed is 620 miles per hour at sea levels. Oh, that's darn close to Mach 1, I think. Stall speed is 104 miles per hour with flaps and undercarriage down. 117 knots with flaps and undercarriage up, so really good low speed performance. Combat range is 330 nautical miles in a low profile. We found that out the hard way. Actually, we had even less range than that, I think. Because that's with 2 drop tanks. The low profile has 2 drop tanks. We had none. It has a range of 591 nautical miles with a high profile, but also with 2 drop tanks, and a ferry range of 1,500 nautical miles with 2 drop tanks. On internal fuel only, it can do about 2.5 hours at low altitude or 3.5 hours at high altitude. Service ceiling is 48,000 feet, so we could have climbed higher. Ultimate G limits are plus 12, minus 6.4. Landing run is 610 meters, takeoff run to 410 meters, so pretty short airfield. Armament, as mentioned, includes 127mm Mauser BK-27 cannon and centerline gun pack with 120 rounds, or one 30mm Defa cannon centerline pod with 150 rounds. It has 5 hardpoints with a capacity for 5,512 pounds, with provisions to carry combinations of Matra rocket pods, CRV-7 rocket pods, AIM-9 Sidewinders, Matra Magic 2 missiles, AGM-65 Magic, a variety of dumb bombs, as well as drop tanks. So that is the summary of the Alpha jet in excruciating detail. So next time we'll be moving on to the next aircraft in the list. But until then, thank you all for watching and stay tuned for next time and stay safe out there, and we'll see you then.